All right, hi everyone. It's been a while since I've done one of my Thursday Thoughts um, episodes, I guess. For those of you that don't know, my name is Marisol, and I was live broadcasting through Periscope, and I no longer am. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my topics and my live broadcasts. So I kind of have a new setup here. It's a little bit different. I'm still trying to get used to it. I don't know what this looks like or what it's going to look like. So if you guys can just bear with me. I do have a topic today, but this is kind of going to be like a test run for my YouTube channel. So I'm going to start exclusively posting my, Thursday thoughts. I'm not sure if they're going to stay on Thursdays, but for now, I'm just going to keep calling them Thursday Thoughts and post on Thursdays if I can. And I'm just going to keep doing topics that come to mind or that people suggest to me. But I won't be doing live broadcasts as of right now. I'm not sure if I will return to Periscope or to Busker. It really depends on, I guess, what feedback I get. But for right now, I'm going to start trying to post consistently to YouTube. But like I said, this is really a test run. I have a new setup. I have new things going on here, and I'm not really sure what this is going to look like or how people are going to respond to it. I don't know what it sounds like because, I kind of have new equipment here. But my goal is to just continue doing topics and bringing them to YouTube, and hopefully my viewership from my live broadcasts will come over here and continue building here on YouTube. So anyways, I'm just going to get started. Like I said, my name is Marisol. I've been chronically ill for about a decade, but completely disabled for about 5 or 6 years. I've lost count. I'm not going to go into the details of my illness. If you want, you can go and look at my previous episodes here on YouTube, my Periscope broadcast that I've posted here on YouTube, and it will give you the details of my illness and the different aspects, my different symptoms and things like that, diagnoses that I've had in the past. So you can go and take a look at those. I may do another video soon just introducing or reintroducing myself and talking a little bit more about myself. So don't worry, I may do something like that, but for right now, like I said, this is a test run or something of a test run, and I do have a topic. And this is actually a topic that I've really been wanting to talk about for a while, but like I said, unfortunately, my Periscope broadcasts had to stop, and, as far as having the right equipment to be able to do a vlog, I was unable to do it, and I was having a really hard time trying to figure out what I was going to do as far as that was concerned. But I do have a topic, and I'm here, and I want to do it, and I think it would be perfect for this quote-unquote test run. So something that has kind of been coming up more and more for some reason. It's coincidentally, it's been coming up a lot for myself and people around me, friends and family and that kind of thing, is counseling and getting I don't want to say mental help. It has sort of a negative connotation, but getting counseling, getting psychotherapy, and getting help for whatever emotional, issues you have. And it's come up a couple times with some friends and family members where I really feel that they need to get some kind of help and, and speak to someone, and they kind of don't want to do it. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to close the window. So like I mentioned earlier, this is a test run. I didn't really prep 100% for it. I just want to see what this is going to look like, how the sound's going to come through. Maybe some of that construction sound outside might come through. I don't really know. I'm dealing with new equipment right now, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, the issue of counseling, getting counseling has been coming up, and I just keep hearing, I don't want to, I can't, I don't need it, you know, what would I talk about, you know, all that kind of thing. And it's kind of getting to me to keep hearing these excuses. And I myself have been going to counseling for many years. I actually recently transitioned to a new counseling center. So it's something that is really at the forefront of my life right now, and it seems to be at the forefront of other people's lives as well. And it's people, you know, that I've been talking to are sort of trying to make that decision as to whether they should pursue it or, you know, or just keep doing what they're doing. But I was very curious as to why people refuse to go to counseling and refuse to get the help that they need. And so I started sort of researching it, and I came up with, there's a lot of interesting stuff that I found on the internet, but also things from my own perspective and, you know, from when I've spoken to people. These are the different reasons that people will not seek help. So that's the topic of today's vlog, is why people won't get mental help for their issues, and people that clearly have something going on. This isn't, you know, just maintenance therapy. It's severe, you know, mental health issues, or they're going through something in their family that's, you know, really bad, like an illness or a death in the family, and it's just like, you know, I don't want to get help, you know, or I can't, or I don't know what to do, you know, that kind of thing. But these, I think, exploring the reasons why people won't get help is probably very, very, it's probably more helpful than exploring the reasons why people do get help. Because I think when people do get help, it's basically because they're, you know, at a point where, you know, they've lost everything. That's a lot of the times why people will get help, is because they've already lost everything. And, you know, people should get help before they get to that point. But anyways, I've sort of categorized all of these reasons. I put them into different loose categories, but the different categories are, you know, they're sort of umbrellas, and then there's other smaller reasons underneath them that that kind of fall under that umbrella. So one of the first umbrellas that I have here is, you know, a person's character or their reputation or the way that they're viewed by people. So I just kind of want to say character. They feel like their character is going to be attacked, or their character is going to be called into question if they go to therapy. So basically, a lot of people feel like it makes them look weak, or it makes them crazy. You know, people are going to say that I'm crazy, or I'm not crazy. Why would I go to counseling? They don't want to be labeled. They don't want to be labeled as having an anxiety disorder, or being manic depressive, or whatever. They just don't want a diagnosis or a label, because again, they feel that reflects on their character and their ability just to probably be a part of society, which it does not. It does not affect any of that. And some people have even told me that it will affect their career choices, which I question this very highly, because your job or your prospective job is not permitted to ask about any of your health records. And if they do, you have to sign off on that, and you have to give permission to give them access to your health records. So when people tell me like, oh, it's going to affect my future career choices, I really question whether that's true or not. Because, you know, jobs have no access to that information unless you give permission to your healthcare provider to release that information. And I know this because I have had doctor's appointments that I've gone to where they've told me, you know, are you seeking, you know, mental help? And I tell them, yes, I am, but my therapist cannot release any information to another doctor without my permission. So it's totally under your control. You control what information is released, but, you know, your job or your prospective job should not be asking those questions. They should be basing hiring you on your qualifications, your performance in your previous job. I don't see why they would even ask that to begin with. But like I said, if they do, you do not have to release that information to them. I believe it's actually illegal to discriminate against someone because of a disability or, a diagnosis, anything like that. And it's funny because a lot of these people that say, I don't want my reputation to be affected. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I don't want people, these are the same people whose reputations have already been dragged through the mud. These are the friends that get plastered on the weekend and cry and complain about their problems, or, they have alcohol and drug issues, and they're concerned that going to a therapist is gonna make them seem crazy. And I'm not saying that this is for all people. Yeah, there are some people that hide their issues very, very well, and sometimes those are the people that are in the most danger. But some of the people that I've spoken to recently, they're already known to have had a lot of serious issues in their life, and seeking counseling probably would only make them look better in the eyes of their family and friends. And also too, you wear down your family and friends by constantly complaining to them and telling them, over and over again about your problems, getting drunk or doing drugs around them, and I'll elaborate on that as well. So, people are very, very concerned about their character and their reputation. This is a pretty legit concern. As far as it concern, in regards to your family, your immediate family, and your friends. Like I said, as far as it comes to with your job or your profession, it really should not affect that at all. The second umbrella here is efficacy. A lot of people want to make sure that this is going to work. Is therapy going to work? Is it going to fix the problem? And, that is, it's kind of a process of trial and error. You're going to have to try many different therapists to find the right one. You're going to have to try, as well, you're going to have to try. You're going to have to be open in your therapy sessions. You're going to have to ask questions. You're going to have to ask a lot of your therapist. You are going to have to push them as well as have them push you. So it is up to you what you're going to get out of your therapy sessions. But a lot of people will say things like talking won't help. I don't want to complain. Complaining doesn't help. I didn't like it. I didn't like going to a therapist. It didn't help me, or I didn't find it helpful. Where would I even find a good therapist? How would I find a good therapist? That's kind of a dumb question in today's day and age, because we have access to, computers, you have Yelp, you have, all these different sites where you can find healthcare providers and you could see their ratings. So that's kind of, to find a good therapist is pretty, it's a lot easier now than it was in the past. No one understands me. I had a really bad experience with my last therapist. I don't, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know, what would I even do in there? So all of these things can really influence your perception of how effective therapy is. And I will tell you from my own personal experience, the first therapist you find is probably not going to be the one that you should stick with, unless you really have done your homework. Like I said, I recently transitioned from one therapist to another, and I do notice the difference. And granted, the jury's still out on this therapist, but I definitely noticed that this new one is pushing me a lot harder than the last one. And you will know if you leave your sessions not really feeling better, or not feeling, or not, your brain isn't really moving when you leave, your counseling session, then that therapist is probably not doing anything for you. Your brain should start clicking a little bit, or something that the therapist says should make you think. And I've had a few moments like that with my new therapist. With my last therapist, I was just sitting there talking. Granted, she was very sweet, and it still helped me a lot to talk because I have nobody to talk to, especially when it comes to my health issues. But, you do need to be feeling something when you leave there, something besides disappointment or sort of this weird emptiness. You should be, like I said, your brain should be clicking, or you should be feeling a little bit lighter. You know, something should be moving, and in a good way. I don't want to say that you should be feeling 100% better, especially if you're a chronically ill person. It is hard to come by a good session where you leave and you feel amazing, because you leave and you still have your illness, and that is unfortunate for those of us that are chronically ill. But you know, you should get something out of it, some kind of insight. And if you're not, then I suggest you keep moving. And like I said, it's a process of trial and error. You may have to move through a few different therapists, which I have in the past 5 years. I've gone through several. And you will eventually get to one that will do something, that you'll feel a difference. And sometimes it's good to go through this process so that you can tell the difference. So don't think of it as a bad thing. Oh, this therapist isn't really doing anything for me. Well, you know, you'll notice the difference between that one and the next one. And if the next one you really don't feel anything with that one, then maybe the last one was a better fit. And for those people that say, I don't know what to talk about, a good therapist will know what to talk about with you. They're not going to leave any dead air in the session. So that's how you're going to know that you have a pretty decent therapist, is that there's no dead air during your session. Time and money, and these two are pretty legitimate as well, but they're also just excuses. Some people say, I don't have time, it's too expensive. I can just talk to a friend. I can just talk to my friend. It's free, and what do I need a therapist for? Blah blah blah. So as far as time, there's people that find time, like I said, to go out on the weekends and have a good time and drink with friends. There's people that find time, when people tell me I don't have time, and, I see them going out, I see them, they have hobbies, they have whatever. It's like, yes, you do have time. It's just your priority. What is your priority? Therapy is not your priority. Your priority is hanging out with your boyfriend or going out drinking with your buddies. That's your priority right now. So it's fine if you don't want to do it, if you can't fit it into your schedule, but don't say you don't have time. It's just not your priority. And money. Money is a more legitimate complaint, but a lot of therapists will charge on a sliding scale if you don't have insurance. But if you don't have insurance and you don't have money, there are counseling centers that will offer counseling for free. And I am currently getting counseling, and I feel I'm getting some pretty quality counseling through a nonprofit, and I'm not paying a dime. I do have to drive there, so that's one thing, but I am not paying a dime for these sessions, and I'm going weekly. Whereas before, I was going every 2 weeks. I do have Medicare. Medicare does cover counseling for those of you that have Medicare. But now I'm getting counseling every week, no cost to me. I do like my counselor quite a bit, and I'm enjoying it. And so for those people that say, it's too expensive, there are nonprofits out there that will help you to find counseling that fits into your budget. And also too, if you do have a legitimate, a severe mental health problem, they will find counseling for you. Like I said, you just have to go on the computer, Google it, Google